Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review. I need it for the disappointing football result today, and I also wanted to do one of these before I headed out for the evening. And I want to keep going through my Brewdog stockpile that I have. So today I have for you the Brewdog Dead Pony Club. Now, as is usual with my videos, I'll just take you through the history of the Brewdog Brewery, but I've done many of these reviews before, so you're most likely to have seen that. But if you're watching for the first time, I would say stick through the history. But if you are simply interested in the tasting of this beer, then just feel free, fast forward towards the second half of the video where you'll catch that. Now, the Brewdog Brewery were founded back in 2007 by James Watt and Martin Dickey, both of whom were only 24 years old at the time, so you can see this is a very new brewery by fairly young guys here. But they founded their brewery at the Kessock Industrial Estate in Fraserburgh in the very northeastern corner of Scotland. And back in those days they used to sell the beer in their local markets and things like that, and out at the back of their old beat up van as they put it, but things have changed dramatically for them since then. But this particular beer, the Dead Pony Club, is one of 7 core range beers of 2013, and this includes Punk IPA, 5am Saint, Libertine Black Ale, Dogma Hardcore IPA and Tokyo Star. And they're also known for their occasional brews that they do, and these include ales, stouts, pilsners, Märzen beers, Oktoberfest, all of this kind of thing. They do a whole host of different beers. A very, very good brewery, well known for their kind of hop forward style a lot of the time. But in 2008 there was a big media storm over the company regarding the beer that's in the core range called Tokyo, and this is because it's an 18% ABV, and many in the media branded the pair as irresponsible for producing a beer of such high strength. Scotland's got quite a bad reputation of binge drinking. A lot of people there's a lot of people on welfare and things like that who just basically waste away their lives on alcohol, but not all of us, I have to say. But the company is well known for actually having held the title of World's Strongest Beer on more than one occasion. But the strong brews have included the 32% Tactical Nuclear Penguin, the 41% Sink the Bismarck, and the 55% End of History, which they actually packaged with squirrels and stoats, which that got them in trouble with the animal rights activists, but they didn't care. They kept brewing these things anyway. I mean, it's all about beer for them. These guys are big beer geeks, and it shows in their beer. They've got some really classy stuff here. But these beers, the high fermentation beers, have actually been produced due to the large kind of ongoing battle that they're having with Schwarzbrau from Germany for the title of World's Strongest Beer. And Schwarzbrau actually hold it at the moment with their Schwarzbrau 57, a 57% ABV beer, an absolute monster as I would call it. But I'd love to try it, but it's probably really expensive. But I do have some Schwarzbrau beers in the house that I will review for you at a later stage. But in 2008, that same year, they also began their first exports to Japan, Sweden and the USA, and they started their Equity for Punks shareholding options in 2009, and this aided the company with an expansion of 200% during a recession. Highly impressive for any company during an economic downturn like that. And in 2010 they actually started their brew pubs, which have become hugely popular. The first one opened in Aberdeen in October 2010, that's my local one up the road. But this was also followed by new bars in Edinburgh and then Glasgow in 2011. I've not been to the Glasgow one, but I have been to Edinburgh, and they also opened one in 2011 in Camden in London. And that year they also launched their second round of shareholding, bringing in 5,000 new shareholders, and that funded some very interesting stuff in 2012. And in 2012 the bars expanded further into England with locations in Nottingham, Manchester, Newcastle, Bristol, Birmingham, and a new one in Shoreditch, London. There's also one in Leeds, but I'm not sure exactly when that opened. But the brewery also moved to their new facility in Ellon, which is actually down closer towards the city of Aberdeen, the oil capital of Europe, where I study as well. But they kept their Fraserburgh facility that I mentioned earlier as their beer lab, where they produce all their experimental stuff, and I'm sure they actually produce the high fermentation beers there as well. But nowadays, since going from selling beers at local markets to in their old beat up van, they are now the largest independently owned brewery in Scotland, producing 120,000 bottles per month for export all across the world. You can get these throughout Europe. I saw them in Estonia when I was there. You can get them in Japan and Korea, I'm sure, Australia, and throughout North America as well, so available all across the world pretty much. And I'm sure they're going to go into South America recently, they said. But as is usual, I'll just let you have a little look at the bottle art and things like that and read you the blurb off this beer. I'll just bring up my camera if I can find my mouse. There we are. So as you can see, it's the standard Brewdog artwork. This time a kind of turquoisey colour for this. As you can see on the bottle, it's a Californian Pale Ale. That's not showing up actually really very well. The bottle cap on this one is the standard white with the blue dog. let's just give you a little read of the blurb of this one. The blurbs actually, I always think, give you a little insight for those of you watching outside of Scotland into the genetic craziness that comes with being Scottish. Some would call it a disability, I call it just normality myself. But anyway, this Californian Pale Ale packs a huge hoppy punch, a 21st century low amplitude high voltage hop hit. Some people say slow is good, we believe fast is better. Being shot from a hoppy howitzer beats the hell out of trotting around a submissive paddock. That's why the internal combustion engine got mounted on 2 wheels. Screw down and throttle and listen for that dull bashy's howl floating from the back from those malted mufflers. Drink fast, live fast, sleep late, and rip it up out the empty streets. This pale ale is chopped, tuned and ready to roll. Fuel up and hold tight. This little thoroughbred kicks like a mule. Walk tall, rock out and learn to speak like craft beer. So yeah, usual genetic craziness coming in there from Scotland. But let's get this guy open and get on with the tasting. Try and preserve the cap as usual. Here we are. Okay, so let's get this guy on the road. Stealing my dad's tankard as usual for this one. My beer chalice, I left it up the road in Aberdeen. Let's give the last little third a swirl. This is a good way to pour beers if you want a good head on them. This one's nice and chilled. It's a really, really nice colour, this one actually. A nice sort of orangey amber colour. But yeah, so let's give this guy a little smell and a little look. As you can see, it's maybe got a sort of finger head on this one looking into the camera. There's quite a few bubbles visible in this one. If I hold it up to the light, definitely a sort of ambery, orangey amber colour. Really, really attractive looking beer. In terms of the smell, I would say, yeah, big citrusy nose on this one. Typical of the Brewdog beers to have their big citrusy hoppy nose. But definitely very, very citrusy. There's some tropical fruits in there also, perhaps kind of some grapefruit, I would say. It smells actually quite a bit like the Punk IPA, but sorry, not the Punk IPA, the Hardcore IPA. Smells a lot like that, but just not quite as the aroma in this one isn't quite as strong, I would say. But there's a bit of piney and grassy note in there. I'm not sure if there's something else in it, but it's mainly the citrus, and the grapefruit is kind of sticking out at me, I would say. Orangey and grapefruit notes, definitely. Let's give this guy a taste. Yeah, the first thing that's coming, there's a hell of a lot of citrus in this one. Really a lot of citrus. That's masking quite a lot of the more subtle flavours, I would say, but when I leave it through to the aftertaste, I would say I am starting to pick up the piney and grassy notes as well. But the citrus notes are mainly, I would say, sort of orangey tangerine flavours. This is actually, it's a really, really nice beer. It's very kind of light as well, I would say. But yeah, really, really citrusy notes from the types of hops that are used in this one. Incidentally, this style, I forgot to say, it's a 3.8% Californian Pale Ale. It's hopped with Simcoe, Citra and HBC hops, so you're expecting the sort of citrusy grapefruit style taste from there. And it's malted with Crystal, Cara and Spring Blend malts. So it really, the flavour is actually really reflected with that, with the Citra hops. The Citra hops really are kind of dominating in this one with the sort of orangey grapefruit flavours. It has that sort of typical Brewdog hoppy bitterness throughout. Really, really nice beer. I'm enjoying this one, I have to say. But as I say, really a lot of citrus in this one. The piney elements are coming through on the aftertaste. There's maybe just a little hint of caramel there, but it really is masked a lot by the fruitiness and the citra bitterness of this beer. Very, very nice, I have to say. In terms of the mouth, I would say it's probably light to medium bodied, but it does have quite a high carbonation. But yeah, I kind of moderate to high carbonation, I would say, but that makes it quite crisp. This is actually a really, really good beer for drinking when you're thirsty, I would say. It has a little bit of a wet mouth feel. In honesty, it kind of reminds me a bit of the Hardcore IPA. It's a bit more like a watered down one, and it doesn't quite have the, obviously with it only being 3.8% compared to, I think it's something around 9% that the Hardcore IPA is. This one's quite a bit more chilled out, and definitely if you're looking for a lighter beer, this is indeed quite similar to the Hardcore IPA in terms of taste, I would say. but really a really good one to have in the core range, I would say. This is nice. I'm really quite enjoying this one, but it makes it, this one's very crisp, very easy drinking, sort of light to medium bodied with a kind of moderate to high carbonation. Overall though, I've already reviewed, in terms of their low ABV beers, I've already done the Nanny State and the How to Disappear Completely. This one I would say is actually better than both of them. This is probably their nicest low ABV beer, so this is definitely worth the try. They're very well known actually. They did the Nanny State, only had a 0.5% ABV, but I wasn't so, I thought it was nice enough, but I wasn't so keen on it. But this one, out of the low ABV beers on brew from Brewdog, I would say that this is probably the nicest one that I've tried so far, but there'll be more things to come in the future, no doubt, from them. But anyway, thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Hopefully it's been informative for you. I'll be back with another one. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'll do yet, or whether I'll have time to do some more before I head back up the road. But thanks again for watching. As usual, please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer. And as usual, do all the usual YouTube jazz. Share, subscribe, like the videos, all that kind of thing. But thanks again for watching. You've been watching Goddard Radio Moscow, and I shall catch you soon. Cheers.